Welcome, everyone, to the No One is Perfect podcast. Excited to see you here today, Chrissy. I always enjoy our conversations even before we hit record.
I do too.
So, I'm going to read this intro because I love it the way it is. We're going to talk about this idea of trading goals for guidance. So, today we're diving into something that might sound a little rebellious in a world that's obsessed with vision boards, 5-year plans, and crushing your goals. What if constantly setting goals isn't actually the life that we're meant to live? What if goals might be getting in the way of your life? And I love this quote: when the ego plans, the soul laughs. What if some of the pressure, burnout, striving so many of us feel coming from trying to force life to follow the agenda of the ego instead of allowing something deeper to guide us? What if we can stop chasing goals and start following guidance? What? In this episode, we're exploring a different way of moving through life, one where you loosen your grip on rigid plans and start listening for the quieter guidance of spirit, intuition, or whatever you want to call that deeper intelligence moving through all of us. Instead of asking, what do I need to achieve next? We ask, what feels alive? What feels aligned? What is trying to emerge through me? I think of that prayer, use me. This isn't about becoming passive or doing nothing. It's about learning the difference between pushing life and being led by it. So today we're talking about the case against goals, the difference between ego ambition and soul direction, and what can open up when we stop trying to control the path. Oh my God. And start trying to unfold.
Mm.
Yeah.
Isn't this? Yeah, I hear this, Marty, and it's so challenging.
Yes.
Like intellectually, I think we can understand it,
Yeah.
but when it comes to our nervous system, it's very different.
Oh,
I think it's very different because our patterns of control come up because that has to do with safety in our nervous system.
totally.
And
Yeah.
so I know. And I can say this in the past. I can tell I've grown and I've healed a little more, thank the gods, because I'm like, oh, yeah, I used to do that way more than I do today. Like even the word surrender, I used to be like, no, I am not surrendering and, fight to the death to surrender to. And I think it was more my understanding of if I surrendered, um, the life that I was told I should have, do, and be not on your life, there again, would I have that? And that's where my rebel and my never surrender, working
Oh, yeah.
3 jobs and going to school. And there was no part of me that even understood what that meant.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm laughing in myself because when I had children, you realize how little control you have.
Oh, my God. Right?
And
Nothing gets you that faster. It's like,
yeah, and it's such a, and working and a teaching process of my own self of even being curious about surrender.
yeah.
What does that mean? And how does that feel in my nervous system?
Yeah.
It's not a mental exercise, and it is.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's so funny. And Chrissy, I know we've talked about this before because, like my husband's big into the metrics and goals, and it's worked for him in
Hmm.
that way. And it's interesting, like this stage in his life, he's kind of learning, like, man, I've had all these goals and there's stuff that's just not working out. And I love this saying that I've heard so many times, whatever the ego creates, the ego can destroy.
Hmm.
And I think there's so much truth in that. And that, I mean, it's funny because all my life, this whole idea of setting goals was always kind of like icky to me. But I always made myself wrong for feeling that way about it. It
Hmm.
was like, Art, like, what do you mean goals feels icky? Like, that's how you're supposed to get through life. And I feel like I'm woken up from the nightmare of that and have started to see life so differently. And again, it's not a passive thing. It's, and I know surrender, that word can be the white flag of surrender, and it can seem like weakness. This isn't passive. This isn't weakness. This is, that idea of allowing something to move through us. And I know we've talked about this before. Like, I love that prayer. Use me. Like, use me for the highest good. And it just made me think of this quote. I'm going to read. The duty of the outer self is to turn to the beloved mighty, I am present, and ask for orders.
Mm,
Whatever you want to call it, it can be, I'm going to ask Fred Flintstone. What does he think? It's that use
yeah.
me for the highest good. And that's such a different thing. And like you said, it's challenging, especially in this very ego-based, make it happen, do it culture. It can feel so wrong to like think of like, oh, I got to detach and, you know, this isn't feeling right to me. So maybe I need to go to the left a little. But to me, there's such that piece of like, of course it's going to feel wrong because our cultural programming is the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's about value and worthiness.
Right. Productivity. And that's
Yes.
saying you want something done, give it to a busy person,
Yeah. And what is that? S- Idle hands make idle minds,
Oh
or
God. Yeah. Whatever right.
right. There's so many little things that is embedded in our DNA
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
you stay busy and you stay productive because that's what God wants. Service, service, service. It's very rare that you hear the opposite.
Yeah.
And when people try to do the opposite, which is sitting with self, whether that be through walking, riding your bike, meditation, prayer, doesn't matter what it is sitting in your own body and your nervous system to do a check-in of what's happening here.
Yeah.
What am
Right.
I feeling here?
Imagine that. How radical.
It is because the nervous system tends to do the driving
Yes.
and the invitation. And that's part, I mean, that's a big reason why you and I are doing this podcast, Marty,
Yes.
is an invitation of curiosity of what would it feel like to surrender to reading, looking at your phone, being distracted, even for 5 minutes a day, and set a timer on your phone
Hmm.
because that is such a thing that so many people are uncomfortable with because of the nervous system. And the only way we can shift a pattern is to be aware that we have a pattern.
Oh, it's such a cliche, but awareness is the first step.
Yes.
It truly is the first step. It's like, well, oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because, we've talked about this before. Like, our culture just loves the big players, it loves the superstars, it loves all of that. And
Yeah.
that's thrown at us constantly. And you think about being quiet. I mean, I always go back to the idea of Jesus going off so often and
Mhm.
making space. And I kind of doubt Jesus had goals. Like,
I doubt it too.
yeah, it's like I go back to those like different spiritual traditions, and yeah, it's like it's to me, goals is a product of the ego, and there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I want to accomplish this, I want to get this done.
Yeah.
And the idea to me is that go back to surrender. Like, if this is meant to happen for me, like show me the way, and if it's not, give me peace. That was my
Mhm.
prayer on that New Year's Eve in 2010, right before I found tapping. If I'm meant to change my life, send me something that can truly change my life. And if not, give me peace with
Yeah.
this colossally mediocre life that I feel like I'm living. And then amazingly, tapping showed up. And that was such a dark time in my life. And I was just finally like genuinely, without even thinking about it, just surrendering.
I think, Marty, we all have that or have had that experience. And sometimes, and all the great spiritual teachers, pick your teacher, it's
Right.
irrelevant. The teaching is the same
Yeah.
of contemplation, meditation, prayer, connection back to Mother Earth. And as we do that, that's really where guidance can come in. It's the invitation in the surrender to be guided, just like what you said, which
Right.
requires you to stop something, which is usually distractions or addictions, because my question is, and I say this for myself, but everyone there outside listening, what's underneath the panic of sitting with what is present?
Right.
Can we practice sitting with it even for a few minutes a day to get to know ourselves outside of the masculine, which is the thinking
And the
energy,
doer.
and the doer, to the feminine and the receiving of guidance, the receiving from your soul or from your guides or angels or God?
Yeah.
We have to be quiet enough to listen. We
Yes.
can't, we're not going to hear when we're pushing our agenda out of fear or out of the ego. And that's not simple.
No.
It is a practice, and I believe it's partly why I mean, that's why we're here, is to navigate this human experience with more balance,
Oh, I
especially today,
yeah. Oh my God. Right.
more
Like,
so.
yeah. Yeah. And I always love that line. And I know Wayne Dyer said it years ago. In my world, he heard it from some yogi that he followed. In my world, everything is okay. All is well. And I thought, yeah, that's so, even in the midst of all the chaos and everything that's going on, it's like we've talked about in the past, like, do I want to contribute to the hysteria or do I want to, you know, find a different way? And yeah, and again, I know it just, I think the one of the biggest keys is no, it can feel so uncomfortable to be like, I mean, I'm not telling people like if goals feel like they work for you and you feel like you're in the flow and that's cool. Like this isn't cookie cutter, but to invite the idea of like, what if I should just take a little space and see what comes? Because it's so easy to have goals. They all appear to be working and getting us where we want, but how are we feeling in that journey? I mean, if we're uplifted and light and the guidance keeps coming, that's great. That's really probably way more about being in the flow.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I'm just exhausted and I've just got another goal and, like that. And yeah, you know, we we both can privately laugh about what's your metrics.
What's your metrics? What are your ROIs on that?
Yeah, I'm
We were
like,
laughing before the podcast because we've both been asked that about this podcast.
totally. Yeah,
What
what
are
do you
your
do?
goals? What are you trying to make? Who are you trying to reach? And I'm like, and when we started it, our intention, I remember Marty's like, okay, we are not doing that.
Right. Yeah, this is a passion project and we're
Yeah.
just gonna see where it goes and and I don't know. I don't think you can ever go wrong doing that. That's why I'm not hung into like, like what's going on and yeah, blah 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 blah. Is the
Right.
yeah,
And I believe part of that has really come from our own experience of being in this, because this does go through stages, stage of control and trying to do that. And then exhaustion, which is why we're doing the podcast too. Can we just flow and enjoy and share, which is more of that feminine aspect
yeah,
of us letting go of control of any outcome? And I'm not attached. I truly can say that.
yeah, me either, which is so wonderful.
That's a lot of growth for both of us
Oh
because
God, right? The doer
definitely
is extraordinaire. Yeah,
a type A. And I was thinking too, Marty, as we were talking, in that I think being present in the moment is the work, because in this moment, in general, am I okay?
right.
And staying in that moment for a few minutes every day.
Yeah,
is the practice versus anticipating what's coming next,
Right.
anxiety,
Hmm.
or being frozen in the past, depression. The energetics of how that moves within our nervous system is very real. So if you tend to have anxiety, to come into the present moment in the surrender of the mind. And how I teach clients and how I do it myself is I surrender everything I think I know, everything I think I am,
Right.
as I receive. And and I've learned it from various people. It doesn't come from me, but through the breath, I surrender on my out breath, my mind, and how I think it should be as I receive on the in breath, because we're receiving from the earth, we're
Hmm.
breathing in air. That's a very literal concept.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's so, and it brings to mind too, Chris, that idea of being out of balance with giving and receiving. And one of my, I did like a month worth of reading out of that 365 Days to Embracing Forbidden Emotions, that daily book that I wrote with my daughter. And so these were videos that I made in my Tapping Really Works Facebook group. And one of them popped up in my memories.
Mm,
And it was all about tapping on being out of balance with giving and receiving. And like to your point, in many churches, it's service, 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 service. But it's like being out of balance. And it was interesting. I needed to hear it. I'm
mm,
watching this and listening and tapping along. I'm like, I needed to hear this. And it just popped up. And I had two women in particular that I thought of. And I was like, I'm going to send it to them. I
mm,
just have the feeling I should send it to them. And both of them sent back to me in different ways saying, I cannot believe this. This is exactly what I needed to hear. And that's a great reminder to me that I'm like, oh, I am being used for the highest good.
yes.
That impulse came because I'm being used to maybe help someone else. Like, I should send this to them. And that's been such a like profound thing to me to go, oh, I can be used. Spirit can use anything, anyone. I can be used to help others. I should add a V8.
Yes. And I I think listening to that intuitive guidance
Yeah,
from spirit, from however that is for you, that really is a surrender because we don't know it intellectually, but we know it in our system, our nervous system, our bodies. There's a knowing.
right.
And that's what, and even if asking you, Marty, how do you know that? I don't know. I just knew it.
Yeah,
It didn't
that's
come from your mind, is my
right.
point.
Yeah, that's the total difference about the things like the ego knows and clings to. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I just knew.
Yeah.
That's more that divine guidance, the spirit led. Yeah.
And wouldn't you say too, Marty, when we're led and when we're guided, there's a peace that comes in our bodies and in our nervous system
Oh, 100%.
because
100%.
it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Even and sometimes the unknown, and I think as we're human, the unknown is scary, can be.
Yeah.
And the unknown is tomorrow.
Right.
To practice staying in the moment today. That is the practice that we're talking about and not waiting for a crisis of health crisis to stop you from the exhaustion from burnout to the point that you physically can't get out of bed or you develop an autoimmune disease or all these different things that our bodies, Dr. Gabor Mate, the body says no, right? There's lots
Right.
of research on this that we can only do so much of pushing and giving and staying in the mental aspect of what that is for safety. And then the body's like, no. Or you
Right.
get the flu and you're in bed for 10 days.
Right. Yeah.
And then afterwards, whoa, I really needed that rest. I had no idea how tired I was.
I finally let myself rest because I had to get sick to do it.
Yeah. And couldn't we, I'm encouraging, couldn't we not let it get to that point every time?
Right. Yeah.
And how do we do that? We're listening to our intelligence, which is our body,
Yeah.
and our body is connected to intelligence.
Yes.
source, right? It's one and the same. We're a piece of that. And as we learn to listen and have our body be our guide, if you might want to slow down,
Yeah.
you might want to take a breath. And even in the uncomfortableness of it, that is the awareness of the pattern and letting your nervous system know that I am okay in this breath.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Oh,
is
yeah.
surrender.
It
That is
is.
surrender.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that myself when I get in that, like just one more thing and then I'll stop. Just one more thing and I'll just one more thing. And then it's like, Marty, just breathe. Like I could tap and do the pressing, tapping to calm, the settling the body, and then do that, in for 4, out for 6, which is known to calm the nervous system.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it takes me 2.5 minutes. And then it's like, oh, I'm interrupting that pattern of the revving the engine. And to know it's a journey, like anything. We say this all the time. It's a journey. It's
Yeah.
life is forever a journey. I do have this popped in my head. I have to tell you, it's funny. So my daughter and I every Sunday go and meet at this coffee shop. I pick her up. We just talk about stuff. And I was telling her about this person in my life that I was talking to. And this is Christy, I almost I need an adult diaper. I was laughing so hard. So I was telling her, I said, yeah, it's wild. This person really seems to revere me. I'm not kidding, Christy. My daughter's like,
Weird.
what? Like what? And then she goes, oh God, Mom, I'm sorry. I laughed. I go, no, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Because I tell people all the time, it's like, I'm a flawed, fallible person. I'm a work in progress. Like I said, there's days you'll be like, she taps with people.
Yeah. Me
And
too.
I think, yeah, that's just part, like, I was laughing about that because it's just like, that's like, we're that whole thing where, a spiritual being in a human body and learning to navigate that. You know, and I think just as like, for someone to test this out, it's not like, oh, go abandon all your goals. That's not what I'm saying at all, or you are saying. It's more like, why don't you just check it out and maybe get quiet
Mhm.
for
For
two
a
minutes
2 minutes.
and
Yeah.
see what happens. And that's gonna, like, you could feel like you're gonna crawl out of your skin, or this is a waste of time. And the mind starts, like meditation practices. When you first start meditating, they're like, it's a Russian waterfall, man. There's just so much coming out. But I really find that I'm very much more soothed when I remind myself to, like, practice surrendering. You know,
Yeah.
I have to figure this all out by myself right now. I can allow, and that whole use me for the highest, use me. I don't have to figure this out. Just show me the next step and I'll take it.
And I think in that surrender, Marty, of use me, because I said that this morning out on the way out of the gym. That's such a funny thing that that was what was in my brain because my agenda and my what I would love to have happen doesn't usually happen.
Oh God, right?
And it's not that I failed. It because I'm very goal oriented. I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love meeting those goals. And what I've learned the older I get is it doesn't have to be so goddamn hard.
Right. Right.
It doesn't, and that's the ego part that we're talking about too, is
Right.
that point to exhaustion and collapse and realizing that you might have to trust something bigger than yourself, that you are being led by spirit, by
Right.
your soul, and going back in all of the sacred texts and the teachings that they all say the same thing.
Yep.
And to listen to your body. And that's, a big part of why we're doing the podcast is what are the signals of my body when I get to the point where I need to stop?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes people, when they get to exhaustion, they push harder and work more and clean and do all of these things
Oh yeah. I've
because they don't want to stop or they can't.
I have like a PhD in doing that. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
yeah,
do too.
and then catching myself, and it's like, whoa, you know.
That's the point, Marty, is you're starting to learn when you get to that sign that says,
Yeah.
Marty, just take a breath. You need to notice the trees.
Yeah.
And I know for me, that is speeding up and doing more, which means I need to do less. Like I've
Oh, yeah.
noticed my patterns of that's a coping mechanism
Totally.
in my nervous system. And when I notice that I need to do more, I really am practice saying no. I'm practicing saying no to people, saying no to cleaning my house, for example, like things that I get really anal retentive about and just letting it be for an hour or a day. It doesn't have to be anything big, but if I'm
Right.
not aware and I'm not practicing,
Yeah.
everything will stay the same and it will not change. And that's not confusing about why it doesn't change
Right.
in
Yeah.
my own system.
Yeah, this is a very simple little thing that I notice. And like we have a lot of fruit trees now that my husband's planted over our time here. So we have inside plants and outside plants. And it's warm enough now that I was sitting out on the patio with him last night. And it's like, yeah, the trees need to be watered, but I don't feel like it. So I didn't. And then all of a sudden this morning I had a space and I'm like, oh, I feel like doing it. I even feel like getting the fountain going. And it just felt like it was inspiration. It wasn't
Yeah.
like I have to get it done. And then it was easy to just come in and take care of the inside plants instead of like, it's like Sundays, always my day to water the plants.
Yep.
It was like yesterday, I was like, meh, nah. And
Beautiful
then,
example.
yeah, something that simple. So,
And I think the paradox, and I say this because it is a paradox, it sounds so simple, Marty. The paradox is if your nervous system is at a 10, it's probably one of the hardest things you'll do.
oh God, right.
And so
Totally.
please know that that exists.
Yeah.
It's actually called a sacred paradox.
Hmm.
And you're at a choice point,
Yeah.
and the encouragement to take a breath. We'll go through some exercises after we tap. Make one choice that's different when you get to that point where
Yeah.
we all, I think, know we get there and we push past
Yeah.
to practice stopping and then doing, but stopping and doing a check-in first.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because everyone's different in what that looks like.
Exactly. And that's the thing to remember. It's like you'll find trusting that you're going to find your own way, and your
Yeah.
way can look completely different from someone else's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Should we tap?
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I've spent most of my life putting goals out there, make it happen, get it done, I have to have goals to survive and be successful. What if I could see this differently, even just a little bit now? Even though that's crazy making. The idea to maybe not set goals, to allow myself to be used for the highest good. Sure, I choose to acknowledge I feel this way now. Even though I live in a culture that is so deeply ego based, of course it can feel wrong to not set goals. And what if that's the place to begin? Are you serious? Not set goals? Not try to attain them? I don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. What if I could just consider even just 1% that there could be a better way? I don't have to figure this all out right now. But what if I could entertain the possibility that I truly could be used for the highest good? What if guidance and direction can come through me as I start to loosen my grip a bit on the ego's agenda and just remind myself it can feel wrong. But what if that doesn't have to mean it's wrong? What if this is like pulling the IV out of my arm that's had me pushing myself forever? And what if over time I start to relax a little bit? I start to notice little synchronicities. I get an intuitive thought and I act on it. And something exciting happens. But to remind myself it's a practice. And one step at a time, I can start to loosen that grip and eventually see what comes. And take a breath.
Fabulous, Marty. And with that, I invite us all to take a breath and feel your hips in the chair if you're sitting, listening to this. Put your feet on the floor. Feel your body and take a breath. And on your out breath in your mind's eye, to say, I surrender. All that I think I know, all that I think I am in this moment, all I have to do in this moment. And on your in breath, I receive. I receive guidance. I receive peace from stopping the rat race. And just for a few minutes, just for this moment, that you matter enough to slow down.
Mm,
I am worthy to slow down.
yeah.
And know that your body is your guide and to pay attention to its messages. And if it wants to speed up, I would recommend slowing down, even for a moment, but
Yep.
really to begin to learn your patterns of when you get anxious or start pushing so much and slow it down and create that everyday noticing with that surrender and receiving and feeling your feet on the earth. And the simplest part to that is noticing and feeling your toes on the earth. Sometimes our toes clench when we're holding on and gripping so tightly, even when we have a smile on our face and everything looks a certain way. The unconscious patterns of the body don't lie. If there's nervousness and angst, it's going to show up in the body, and a lot of times it'll show up in the feet. And contraction of the toes and or to notice, do my toes come up when I feel anxious or overwhelmed?
Mm,
What is my body doing? And can I notice it in the moment that I become activated or overwhelmed and let them relax for 1 or 2 minutes and then go about the day? But we are our vehicle, and it's really important to slow it down, put some gas in, make sure all of the parts are working, because this is the only vehicle we have. And I think of all the bells and whistles on the new cars. And if you can think of your body like that and all the different things that it does for you when you learn to listen to it
mm,
and direct it like through the tapping.
yeah.
When there's a surge of anger or fear, to tap through it and settle back into the body
Yeah.
is will help your nervous system really start to regulate faster.
I love that, Christy.
And then we
That's,
can listen when we're not running so fast inside our heads.
oh God, right? That's so funny you said that because the other morning I woke up and I have this meditation app and it has a stream sound on it. And it
Mm.
was really early and I just put it on with some, ear pods in. And I just laid there in the dark, listening to the stream and telling my body how much I loved it, how much I appreciated every place it's taken me. And what I noticed, Christy, I felt joy.
Mm.
So it's not like, hey, I went on like this like jet skiing vacation and climbing Mount Everest. I was laying in bed in the dark, listening to a stream, telling my body how much I appreciated it, and joy came. It was quite profound.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a muscle that you've worked well, Marty,
Mm, yeah.
because I think that is what we crave is more joy and peace.
Yeah.
And that's a broad term. And I would ask for people that are listening, what is joy for you? What is peace for you? And get to know the answers to that question and how you could bring a piece of that to you once a day.
I love it. Just make it that simple.
Yeah, it is that simple. And I understand that it's that complex.
Oh God, right? And
It's
that
both.
hard.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're certainly not perfect, which is why we're doing the podcast. It's kind of laughable in its own way.
Yeah, it
But
is.
yeah, we're here on a journey and may we all continue to do it with a little more grace.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christy. And thanks everyone for listening and share this podcast with your friends if you like it. And we're just happy to be here doing our passion project without
Yeah.
all the metrics.
I so love it, Marty. Metrics will come when they're meant to come.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone, for
Bye,
listening.
everyone.